Hi guys, this is Cass
and Antho.
Yes, that guy.
Hey.
That guy who I produced.
The guy with the voice and the stuff and the things. I'm in here all along.
Oh my god. Just throw 7 references at once there, confuse everyone. But yeah, hi guys. So, this is our first Kamen Rider content thing, reaction,
discussion,
podcast, whatever you want to call it, basically.
All the things
at once.
Because Kamen Rider is all the things at once,
it
all
is
the
all
time.
the things at once.
And explosions.
Yes, many of them. So, just a bit of background reminder about who the heck these two goofballs are.
Me! Hello.
So yeah, Antho and I, we do YouTube, and we record audio, we make silly voices, we stream, and we love the ever-loving heck out of Kamen Rider.
Just to give a quick heads up how we got into it in the first place, there's basically like one of the times, like way back in the day, like, oh my god, like I guess like 8-ish years at this point. Anyway, like just talking about Cassie, like at some point I was saying basically I like Power Rangers. I think that's what brought this up.
Yeah, okay. So like my first ever boyfriend that I had absolutely loved Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, wasn't as big into Sentai. And yeah, that's how I knew about it, and I watched a couple of episodes of O's. I think just the first episode of O's and a couple episodes.
I think it'll be double.
No, but I was getting to that.
Oh.
No, you're fine. But no, we watched one episode of O's, and then a couple episodes of Double. I don't remember how far we got, but yeah, so, and then I told this one, I'm pointing, not that you can see, but yeah, I told, by the way, there's this thing that is basically Power Rangers, but more for teens in Japan, and it's awesome, and I think you'd really like it if you like Power Rangers. And yeah, and then I got back into it through him, basically.
It was my fault the whole time. Yeah, so I just wanted to watch Kamen Rider Double. I was like, this is the best thing ever. Then went on to watch more Kamen Rider. Stopped for a bit, and then like was like, hey Cassie, we'll watch Kamen Rider together, and then we just rewatch a bunch of stuff. Went through like,
so yeah,
a lot of it was through pandemic stuff where I was like, well, you know, I have some free time here. I'm going to put like
better time to watch something like that. So here's a list of basically like, not everything's completed, but like here's all of the series that we've dabbled into. Antho has a couple more under his belt, wink, than I do.
So I want so then like just find time doing like the whole pandemic stuff, and I was like, all right, there you go. I'll start
Kuga, yeah.
I'll start all the AC Riders. There you go. So I watched all of Kuga. I was like, that was great. I'm gonna continue from there. Started watching through most of Agito. And then I was like, okay, well,
that's kind of interesting. And yeah, I basically joined watching him on the tail end of it when things were wrapping up. I'm just like, I have so many questions, but I'm sure you'll fill me in.
Then we watched all of Ryuki together.
I love Ryuki.
And went on to watch Faiz.
And then Blade. Hibiki.
We watched all of Hibiki, and it was very painful.
We are part of the probably like. Well, okay.
We like the first half of Hibiki.
We love the first half of Hibiki, but it's no exaggeration that it really takes a turn when you meet that halfway point. I do not recommend the halfway point. If you're curious, go for it, but honestly, it ruins so much of what the show was really about because of producer meddling and stuff. Anyway, we're here to talk about Geats. Let's finish our list.
Yeah, moving on. So we're almost done with Kabuto.
Yeah,
then,
I really like Kabuto.
We watch all of, and then like we skipped a bit here and there. So then like we have watched all of Double.
Yeah, even the movies. Yep.
Yeah, and then we're at the tail end of O's again. And then, like, it's been too long, so we're re-watching O's again.
Just O's is like my favorite. I love O's so much. It's so good. It just makes me smile.
And then, like, with Cass, we watched, we're at the tail end of X8.
Which I also love. It's, like, it's just chef's kiss.
And then from that spot, basically, and then we've been watching Geats since it's been airing.
Yeah, and we didn't quite finish Black Sun.
No, we're halfway through
Black Sun.
Through. And then, like,
Amazons we did a while ago, like the remake of Amazons.
We watched, like, the first 4 episodes of Amazons.
And then we forgot everything about it, and
so
now we're gonna restart that. And but yeah, we haven't watched any Showa era, but it is on the list.
Yeah.
Any Showa era that isn't a remake.
And then from there on, I watched Wizard and Gaim.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of Drive, but then again, it's another one, like, it's been too long, so I like, the details are vague in my brain.
And I'm happy to go through it with you this time, because that was one of the ones that you had watched without me, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll join you. Like,
like, I've been wanting to, like, watch a Kamen Rider as it airs for, like, the longest time, and, like, finally decided, like, you know what? I don't necessarily want to watch, like, 25 series worth of Kamen Riders before watching this one.
Yes, you do.
I'm just gonna go for it.
But no, that's our Kamen Rider background. But yeah, we absolutely love the show. Back in the day, I made my ex a Kamen Rider cake. I'll put it up on the screen just so it's there. I'm not a great cake decorator, but I'm super proud of that. Antho and I also cosplayed Shotaro and Philip in January, which was really fun. And we want to cosplay Eiji and Ankh at some point, so that'll be
eventually make our own Kamen Rider suits.
Yes,
as well.
That is the dream. But yeah, that's basically our Kamen Rider background there. So yeah.
No, so jumping on into this year's current Kamen Rider series, Kamen Rider Geats.
But yeah, so with Geats, it's the first time we're watching it basically as it airs, as it comes out, like...
Yeah, literally, like, we've not done that before.
We watch it... This is important to mention, too, but, like, we do watch it subbed, because neither of us are fluent in Japanese. I took 2 years of it. I'm still practicing. But yeah, I want to say, too, that obviously, since this is reactions and everything, up to episode 25... this is going to be riddled with Geats spoilers, so this is your first and last warning. Like, just like, go watch it now. It's pretty damn good.
It is.
Go
so
enjoy
good.
some Rider.
Look, Kamen Rider just has so much drama and, like, but good drama.
Good drama.
Like, I don't need soap operas.
Drama between men.
Yes. But no, I don't need my soap operas when I have Kamen Rider.
Well, no, I mean, remember Faiz? Like, Faiz is absolutely like,
absolutely
one of the
100%.
most drama, like, filled ones, but it sucks you in and we couldn't stop watching it.
No, it's true. But no, I guess, like, you and I are going to start talking about our initial impressions.
Yeah,
and,
so it was really weird, too, because, when people were talking about it at first, specifically what was said was, oh, it'll be a battle royale like Fortnite, and you and I were both kind of like...
using video game elements such as things like Fortnite.
Which is really what it is. It's not, like a carbon copy of Fortnite. Neither of us play, we have friends that play, but yeah.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. But no, and it's not like this isn't a concept that hasn't been done before. We have...
Squid Games, literally.
Oh, no, and I mean specifically for Rider, too.
Oh, sorry.
Because we've had...
Battle Royale Kamen Rider, yeah, we have, like, Ryuki that you and I watched.
We have...
This guy,
yeah,
you haven't seen
I
him.
haven't seen it, and there's Blade once it gets going and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of like a Rider battle.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I didn't really have it. I didn't have any, like, big expectations. Like, I didn't have
I like the suits right away.
Oh, I like the suits. No, I thought they were neat.
I'm a big fan of the double-powered things.
I was absolutely thrilled, too, because, like, already in the bunch, I thought I could pick out 2 female riders, which, to me, I love seeing female riders in Kamen Rider. Back in Ryuki, I absolutely adored Femme, and then there's sort of been, like, through the earlier...
Even if she's in the movie, especially.
I know, I love her design, though. And I know it's just, like, it's just a rehash of Ren's suit of Night, but it's so good. It's just so pretty. But yes, and like Rider for female writers has been like a back and forth of like, no, yes, there can be female writers, no, there can't, yes, there can, movie only sort of thing.
Well, like,
and
because basically,
yeah.
you and I have been watching from like early ASA to current, and then basically like you're still at that point, like they go like, what, female Kamen Riders? Pfft, that's weird.
Women want a Tatakai? What?
Well, no, you're still at that point, and I have not gotten that close into it. Like, literally, the closest you have is like you yourself. You have is X8 with like.
I love X8 for that because like the girls do stuff and like no one bats an eye, no one says anything, and like the series is based on two things: doctors and gaming, and no one ever says, "Hey, you can't do that," or "No, you shouldn't do that," basically, no. Because you're a girl.
It's funny because it is the same director.
It is the same director for Geats and 01.
Yeah, 01, Geats, and X8.
We've only seen 2 episodes of 01, so. But yeah.
It's been fun so far.
It has been fun so far. It's very over the top, and I really like the music. But yeah, sorry, back to Geats.
Back to Geats.
Back to Geats. So I could already pick out maybe 1 or 2 of the cast that could be female writers from the suits, and Mary turned out to be male, which is it's not a problem. But then we have Nago.
Men can wear pink.
Men can absolutely wear pink. Damn right. But no, so I was happy to see a large cast immediately going into it.
Yeah, well, like usually it's not like it's the first time we have a large cast of writers.
No, it's just usually not immediately.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, like it, and really like made good into showing like, oh no, like shit, be real, yo, like. Just the way the Desire Grand Prix works, all these people are selected. Everyone is a Kamen Rider. Mm-hmm. Like, you can be an old man, you can be an old lady.
World's your oyster.
It's been great about, like, the quote-unquote different what's the word I'm looking for? The variety of people that are Kamen Riders in Geats compared to everything. Again, like,
I mean, we have John Kamen Rider right now. Like
John and Ben Kamen Rider.
I love Ben and John. Oh,
but no, and like again too, just like never thought we would get like an old man as a Kamen Rider.
No, and god damn it, that man! We were rewatching that episode.
Praise Grandpa.
Oh, it's so good. I love him so much. Just his intro sequence where he's just waving and he's just the most precious thing ever.
But no, I feel like Kamen Rider Geats like really gets you hooked in.
It does get you hooked pretty quick. Yeah, and even just from the opening too, because you can tell, depending on the Kamen Rider series and the opening of a show in general, you can decipher a lot of what you're gonna get based on what's there. And I mean, the DGP, like, it's literally an intro for the DGP. Like, I thought that was such a clever thing, which we'll get into more later.
I love that, like, this is one of those Kamen Rider series, too, where, like, our main character is technically, like, we start with Keiwa, and, he's literally, like, the main character, even though he's a secondary rider.
Is it something like the pseudo-protagonist or something? I don't know what the term is.
I don't know what a proper term would be, but
they're both protagonists. It's just Geats is the title character, but then for a while we're following Keiwa's journey.
A lot of
specifically.
And a lot of it is clearly because, like, Ace is, like, the center point of the mystery of all things. Like, he's mysterious, he's hiding stuff. Like, he knows more about the DGP than he's letting on to know, to both every contestants and the DGP staff. And, and that's why you don't necessarily get to see Ace act that, do too much. Meanwhile, we have Keiwa, your everyday man.
Keiwa is our way into that world.
Mr. The goodest of boys, I want world peace.
I love him. He's so good. Very good. Pet head. Pet the Tanuki.
I know, exactly. Like, just like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like, I have not a selfish bone in my body. World peace. And, like, oh god, people are dying!
The first episode really does a good job of setting up what a threat the Jamato are, even though they're kind of silly in, like, how they speak and everything, but, like, it's...
It's got, like, because episode 1 we have, like, the monk Jamato, like, scary... scary, like, Buddhist priest with, like, ceremonial weapons, going like, no.
It's very culty, and then like,
Yeah.
you go like, well, are they all like this? And then we've got the big, what do they call it? Like the ship, or like what is the boss basically for that one?
Yeah,
that Geats absolutely totals.
The final boss, Yamato.
Yeah. And then we immediately have Firefighter Man, who's just like, I have 2 lines and I'm dead. All right. So like, rider death right out the gate.
Well, no, exactly. Like, just like, oh shit, be real, yo. Better be careful or you're gonna get stabbed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just like, these are really strong impressions right from the get-go. And then, literally, I feel like it has not led up for a single episode. Like, it's one of those jokes where, like, I've not had the time to relax my brain, because every single time, like, okay, we're done with this particular bit. Now I can breathe. Oh no, people have bombs strapped on them!
That are also fruit!
Random stuff like that, like, it doesn't let go for a second, and it does work to its strength, too.
It very much is one of those situations where it feels like, oh, like,
I have to know what happens next.
I need to make sure that my kids are okay, basically.
They're not doing okay.
They're not doing okay. We'll get there. Oh, boy.
And, like, Trust Last is a really fun opening.
Yeah, we really like it. I love the visuals for it, too, because, again, what I was saying about deciphering a lot about a series, like, Ace with the barbed wire around him like that, feeling imprisoned, and then whatever the hell is going with Samuri where she aims the gun at him, I'm like, I still don't know.
Understand.
I don't know. I have speculations, but that's all I've got right now.
But no, like, it's not what I would normally call my type of music, but like, it just...
No, it's...
But like, it has just that beat to it that makes me, like, hooked.
Yeah, it's a very, like... I'm trying not to put on my, like, music goggles too much for this, but the construction of it is very interesting, I find, just how much it changes over the chorus and everything, and now we have the full version, which you and I have not listened to yet, but that should be fun.
No, absolutely, we have to.
But no, and it really gives you incentive to watch it every time, because they're always, like, making changes to the opening, depending on who's no longer in the DGP, or some other stuff that's happening. Like, X8 did that a little bit, where they would change it every now and again. Like, but this is so much more frequent.
In X8, they would basically add, like, the best example I have is, like, now they have new forms, so they're adding that. Some new characters are important. The main one is that you see a lot of, like, they switch who the villain is.
The framing.
They switch the framing of who the villain is at whichever point of the show.
Exactly.
But, like, this one literally, like, every episode, like, you can expect something different. Like, literally, this person's no longer gone. No, they have been erased, like, literally from the opening.
Yep, because they are no longer, like, relevant. Whether they are no longer with us in one way or another.
And, like, again, it reflects the game show kind of thing that Geats has going on as well. Mm-hmm. Where, like, you're the audience just as much as the actual in-world audience of Kamen Rider Geats. Mm-hmm. I find that fascinating.
Absolutely.
But no, I guess if you want, we can move on to the next point of characters.
Yeah, just in general. I mean, we could gush about these characters, like, so much. Okay, I thought it was really interesting, too, because we hadn't started Kabuto when we started Geats. Slightly after we did. But there were already people making comparisons between Ace and Tendo. Which, you totally can do that. There's completely different character motivations going on, but they both fit the kind of role of, like, I'm smug, I always am one step ahead of everyone, I have to be, and, like...
I'm the very best, and I know.
And, they can both be kind of jerks from time to time. I'd argue Ace a little less so. He does some pretty awful stuff, especially to Keiwa early on. But, like, Tendo, like, if you see the way he treats Kagami, it's so, my poor boy!
I would say, like, Tendo literally bullies anyone under him. Meanwhile, like, Ace is really more, like, just, like...
And he's a very charming personality.
Mega charming, mega, confident man.
Yeah, whereas Tendo's charm is kind of more of a facade where it's like, I'm being charming to like because that's what the situation calls for, whereas Ace, like, it feels strangely genuine, I guess.
No, exactly. And like,
the other thing we haven't really seen too is where we are in Kabuto, like, again, spoilers, but we're not gonna go off too much on other series spoilers, but when Tendo's theoretical mask starts to slip in Kabuto, and you see more of what he's really like, that, to me, was just so fascinating. We haven't seen that with Ace yet.
But I'm pretty sure we're finally getting to that point where, like, this is about to happen.
Yeah, and I have like, literally, we feel that, I feel that it's gonna happen, like, next episode, if at any point. It could happen later, but I also think that when that mask slips, we will see a much different person than Tendo is.
What was pretty great from what I saw from people's reactions when Geats started as well, is because, like, we had a big batch of good boy main characters in a row with like this is me speaking from like very little context because I haven't seen
for the most recent, yeah, like we haven't seen Revice, we haven't seen Saber.
Well, no, exactly, like, but as far as
we started 0-1, so that's one we can count for Aruto, because he is absolutely, I will make people smile the same way Emu does, and it's both from the same director as well. So that's a big departure for that director to be like, oh, you know, like, I have a different protagonist.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have Keiwa being, you know, literally the secondary protagonist, who is, like, the goodest boy.
He is
but no, like, it was a breath of fresh air in what is otherwise, like, you know, a batch of good boy Kamen Riders of, like Aruto's a good boy, Toma's a good man, Iki from Revise, there you go, is, like,
I saw the gears. I saw the gears turning in your head there, and I'm like, you can do it.
I remember his last name, but not his.
I don't know his name either, but like, you know,
because it's Igarashi.
Again, I haven't seen it yet.
But yeah,
I should mention the only bit of Geats media we haven't seen, because we haven't seen most of the ramen commercials, which are hilarious, but we have not seen the Revice,
the Battle Royale,
Geats movie, because, and Ryuki's in there too, but we can't watch that until we see Revice.
Because my understanding is that there's a lot of spoiler, like, it literally follows the end of Kamen Rider Revice, so we have avoided watching it until we watch, for now, until we actually watch Revice
so we can enjoy the full context.
Like, and that's basically, like, again, like, with us, not usually, we've been going through the AC series in order, with some small exceptions, but, like, you know, this is one of those small exceptions that I cannot avoid the fact that, like, this movie, as characters from a series I haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm. And wrapping up their stories, like, quote unquote, too. Or, like, continue, like, we'll mention that wrapping up, so, you know.
Well, no, exactly. So for now, like, we skip that, but once we get to Revise, we'll get to watch it.
I wanna go back to, like, our point about Good Boys too, because, like, you know, I'm biased as hell in my favorite writers, because, like, you know, Good Boys don't always bother me because my favorite is Eiichi of all people.
Ah, the goodest of boys.
Oh, I love it. He's the GOAT. He's so good. I love him. His dynamic with Ankh too. I could go on for hours, but I won't, because this is Geats time.
Also, you haven't finished. Oh, so
I know I haven't. Oh, I'm scared to finish. I have like 12, 15 episodes.
Yeah, like 12 episodes left to do.
Yeah, and then movies.
And then a bunch of movies.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, yeah, back to characters.
Yeah, just like Ace has been very fascinating as a protagonist. Like, you know, it's that. The best way I can describe it too, you know, is like you said, like, it's like Kabuto, like, you know, like, oh, even if, like, no one, like, with characters like Keiwa around him, it's like, Keiwa's not here. He's here for his wish, of course, but he's, like, you know, he's like, yeah, but, like, I know I can count on Ace kind of deal too as well. Like, you know, like, they have this weird, trust within each other.
Trust last, yes.
Trust last. But no, you know, similarly to, like, you discussed earlier with Kagami and Tendo, where, like, you know, they don't necessarily like each other, but, like, they have this trust of, like, yeah, well, like, if I can save everyone, I know you'll be able to save
It's very strange, too, because, like, I'm not going to rant too much about Kabuto. But
this friendly rivalry thing.
Exactly. And then Kagami and Tendo have this very weird back and forth where it's like, I really want you to be my friend. Well, I don't feel like it right now. Okay, now I'm ready to be your friend. It's like, no, you've done too much to me now. I don't want to be your friend. But yeah, it's like that. Like Keiwa is such a trusting and sweet individual too. Like when Geats betrays him that first, like not the first time, but like the second time with the kick the can challenge, like that hurt. Like that is rough. Like everyone was understandably mad over what Ace did, and I'm like I'm obviously he has his reasons. It was still a dick move either way, but I'm just like, I know that he's in this challenge for a reason, so...
Yeah, like, well, a lot of, like, that, like, if you want, like, just moving on from Ace to Keiwa, but, like, again, like, that's a lot of what was fascinating about watching Keiwa, too, is, again, like, goodest boy being stuck in here in this challenge tournament thing with all these completely selfish people. And, like, you know, him struggling to understand why would you people do this? And then they're all like, yes, because these are all wishes that we're willing to die for.
Yeah, and he doesn't really have the same until
because he's not selfish. Like, to be fair, his dream is a good dream and he should fight for it.
For sure.
But, like, as you said, like, in that first DGP Grand Prix that he's participating in, like, you can see Keiwa's constant struggle about everything. He's like, oh, I don't want to not trust people anyway. Like, this Geats dude betrayed me right away and lied to me about, like, feeding the orphans or something. But, like, it's okay. I'm still here. And then, you know, again, like you said, like, just that whole, like, until, like, literally breaking point of, like,
manipulating him to get the ninja buckle, exactly.
Well, no, exactly. Like, oh, I have to do this. I have to save my sister. Like, I'm
that was
done.
So rough. Oh
like,
God.
You know, when you have poor Keiwa being like, I'm done with trusting. Trust less.
I broke from that episode with his sister, and when he loses his place in the DGP from being unable to fight anymore.
Well, no, exactly.
You have to be careful with Twitter, because we usually can't watch the subs until the next day after airing, and one of the accounts we follow, like, I didn't even register fully what it had said, but it said basically, like, Tycoon entry, like, you know, over or whatever, and my brain didn't even process. I was just like, oh my god, Keiwa's dead, and I'm just withholding this information from Antho, like, until we could watch it, and I'm just like holding back tears and going like, I don't want to tell you what I read, but it's really bad, you're not gonna like it, and I don't want to do that to you. And then, so during the episode, I was like, he's done, like, we're gonna lose him, and I was just. And then when it was like, oh, he's just retiring, I was like, oh my god. And I just cried. He's fine. He's okay. I was crying such happy tears. I was
in
quotation marks. Because is anyone in Geats ever okay? Speaking of people who aren't okay, let's talk about one of our favorite boys from Geats.
Good old Michinaga, Kamen Rider Buffa.
Oh, we love Buffa's design. It is just...
I am absolutely in love with Buffa's zombie form. Like, it just, like, chef kiss.
I need that meme, too, because, like, you know, there's Dan in goddamn X8, and it's like, if I had $1 for every purple-coated zombie Kamen Rider character that I ever fell in love with, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't
I just quoted that completely wrong. My math is great, I swear.
Yeah.
2 nickels equals $1. Well, I mean, in Canadian currency, God knows.
$2? A toonie. But no, like, absolutely adore poor Michinaga, like, you know, like his poor traumatized ass. Like, it's interesting as again, like, it's very interesting the variation of people's desires that we have in Kamen Rider Geats. Like, again, like, we have, like, Aces with his weird wishes every time.
What's my wish of the week gonna be?
Well, no, exactly, like, yes, I've won multiple, Desire Grand Prix, and, like, you know, people go, like...
So Murray and Giori are now my family. It's like, you know...
It's legal now.
It's fine.
0 out of 10 can no longer marry Tsumuri. And he's like, it's fine. I know who I want to marry.
You say that, but Ace is so shippable with everyone.
Yes,
that
exactly.
it is a problem. It is a huge problem. I can see him with, like, so many of the main cast members, like male and female. It's a problem. The rivalry and like the energies between him and Michinaga, though, I'm like, oh.
But no,
and him and Keiwa too. It's a very different dynamic, but like, it's also cute.
Yeah.
I'm like, ah.
But no, before I forget my point.
Yes, go.
But no, it's interesting, because then again, like we have like Ace with his weird wish, Nago with like I wish for true love, Tycoon with I wish for world peace, or I wish to resurrect all dead riders from the DGP, and Michinaga is just someone
I want
filled
revenge.
with so much like rage that he has no other place to put it to. Like, like he decide like, his target for his rage is Geats. Like he never refers to him as Ace. He's just like, like it's always like he never refers to anyone as their proper name, just as their Kamen Rider name, because that would imply him caring enough to remember people's names. He's just like, no, you're a Kamen Rider, so you're the enemy.
And that sort of like difference too in character between how Ace and Michinaga handle the DGP, because Ace, whether it's manipulative or like sly, whatever you want to call it, he goes out of his way to form these relationships with other contestants.
Yeah.
And like, that could be to serve his own ends, but then there's Michinaga who's just like, no, I don't want it.
I'm doing this like I'm
this
doing
is
this
how
alone.
I focus on my goal. This is how you focus on your goal. We are two completely different individuals.
I know, again, like, that becomes super interesting, because then you get characters trying to manipulate him about that, being like,
all
hey,
the time.
How about we were together? Do me a favor, and I'll do you a favor too.
Because
like we had like with Dapad and Mary, like and
even more recently too with the Jamato Grand Prix, which we'll get into. Oh my god, my poor boy.
But no, exactly. Like, I love Michinaga. I cannot get enough of him. He's so sad and needs a big hug, but he will not
accept hugs. No,
he is a literal bull.
He has it on the back,
you in the air.
On the back of his jacket. No, do not hug me. You will die.
If you hug me, you will get suplexed.
Back to his wish too, because like you'd think that the most straightforward line of thinking would be like, I'm sad that my friend got killed because of the DGP. Oh, maybe resurrect friend. But no, he's just so blinded by that anger, as you said, that, like, it goes to, like, no, I just need to stop this from happening. And at first I thought there was some, and we don't know, because he doesn't let us in to how he really is a lot. Again, I talked about masks. He's got a thick mask on.
Yeah,
and it's
purple.
It's bull-shaped. Like, at first, I thought it was going to be, it wasn't even, like, there was a bit of revenge there, but it was also, oh, no one can be put through the same pain I did because of this stupid-ass competition.
That's the thing, though. Like, you're saying that, and that's likely that underlying reason
that's
that he has.
part of my theory. But it's just, he's been so blinded, like even worse than he was before, about focused on, like, his, like, not focused on other people and focused on his anger, that he's just letting all this shit happen around him and he's not doing anything.
Like,
so
he does not give a shit as long as, like...
Our boy got worse. He needs some help.
But no, like, it's again, it's the way his wish is phrased, because it's like, the power to destroy all Kamen Riders.
Mm-hmm.
Like... And that's the thing, that's a way, like, and I don't know if he's, like, Ace, or, like, he tried to wish something, and then, like, didn't let him. I don't think so, because he would have phrased it. But, like, like, it's
there'd be no reason that I can figure as to why he wouldn't be able to wish his friend back, for example.
But no, exactly. And meanwhile, like, the thing is, with a wish phrase, like, the power to get rid of all Kamen Riders does not stop the Desire Grand Prix from happening.
No, and
but meanwhile, that's the thing. The Desire Grand Prix is at the root of his
problems.
issue.
Yeah,
like, he wouldn't have any of this happening if it wasn't for the DGP, and that never comes. Like, his rage is never pointed towards it. It's towards the game show itself. but just straight up against everyone that is a Kamen Rider. People that just get chosen apparently at random. You know, like, again, like, this is something that doesn't get brought up very often enough. Well, no, it does get brought up. The thing's like, it's not just good people that are chosen for the DGP. You get, like, awful people like Dapan, where he literally wishes for the end of the world.
Well, honestly, one of the things Antho and I both thought was going to happen with Keiwa's wish is we thought the second round that Keiwa was part of, like, that we thought he was going to win, wish all riders back, and then we were going to have tons of problems because we were going to have, the riders that, we were going to have some bad people in the mix. The riders that killed Mishinaga's friend and, like, a bunch of other... And that was going to be our next problem. But that didn't happen, so I'm like, oh, okay. It completely went somewhere where I did not expect it to go. And we'll get to that.
Well, no, exactly.
But no, we want good things to happen to our sweet tertiary rider boy.
Well, no, exactly. Like,
I want him to snap out of it.
Well, no, exactly. Like, we're just basically waiting at this point for that specific point in the story. Like, he's finally snaps out of it. Like, get out of the whole revenge mindset, or puts, like, still be, like, struggling, but, like, puts his rage towards the actual people that deserve it.
Yeah.
Like
right now, what's her face? I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. Baroba,
yeah.
Barbara! No.
Oh, yeah, good old Barbara. Jellybean Barbara.
Jellybean Barbara. Her very name makes you quiver in your boots. But I'm sure he has absolutely no... If we're right... I'm sure he has no problem going after the director to grab the belt, because, like, again, this is someone who is responsible for the DGP and therefore the death of his friend.
Well, no, exactly. Like, that's, like, to be completely fair, like, Baroba's completely manipulating Michinaga.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure he can see that, sure. Like, he's not stupid.
But to be fair, she has been pointing him slightly more towards the correct direction of, like, yeah, the whole DGP thing is fucked up. I was like, she, she's the probably, like the evil underdog, you see? Like, saving the world, that sounds stupid.
I get really tired, too, of characters bringing up that he's half Jamato, because I try to forget about it, because I'm just worried about him.
What do you mean? That's just mold on his hand. He just needs to... Misha is just not good at cleaning his hands, okay?
He needs armed water. That'll fix it. Oh, there was a very interesting theory too about that that I saw on Twitter. But like, and I told you about it at the time. But because the Jamato buckle is like corrupting him, before he had his zombie buckle back, there were some people that were saying, "What if the zombie buckle like purifies the Jamato half?" And I think that would have been really interesting. It didn't happen, of course, but I thought it was a really interesting take on how it could have gone.
Well, basically at this point, I'm just kind of worried about like what specifically will happen to Michinaga regarding like his Jamatoification.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, like, is he going to fully turn into a Jamato monster? Or, like, stuff like that. Like, or is he going to be able to fend that off?
Yeah, and the fact that Buroba is also manipulating him, going like, hey, your dead friend's back. Though he does... Based on how he's acting, he's not, he's not falling for it, per se. I think internally he's a little weirded out by it. Like, he's kind of like, this is not my buddy, this is not my friend, this is something wearing his face.
It's clearly opening up some deep wounds.
Oh, no, like, just add to the trauma, why don't you? Whew.
But no, oh god, like, again, we could talk about Michinaga all day, and like, again, like, going back to Keiwa for a little bit as well.
Oh, you want to do a bit of Keiwa? Yeah, what up?
Oh yeah, just like, again, like, I really like Keiwa. At first I was like, okay, well, he's the two shoes who gets manipulated.
I liked him right off the bat, and I want to say that for the record.
But no, like, it took me a while to really enjoy Keiwa, but now I'm like, Team Keiwa all the way, right? Kind of. Well, I'm Team Buffa, but
You're Team Buffa, but not so he gets his way.
Yes.
You just want him to be okay, the same way I do.
But no, like, I really like the stuff Keiwa is literally that character used about, like, anyone can be a Kamen Rider. Again, like, they're going to be every man kind of thing, but, like, someone with a good art. I like when his sponsor, like tells him like, you have the spirit of a true Kamen Rider, Keiwa.
I think he's my favorite sponsor, honestly, of the batch.
Because the other three are so weird.
They are weird.
He's just like
okay, when you go like, oh man, the dude who poses as a frog statue is the least weird of the group.
Well, see, like, because the frog statue is his real form, the other, like, his human form is just like, right, this is a suit, I guess.
Oh, I can't wait till we talk about it, because it's gonna be a mess. But, like, the whole sponsor stuff and the reveals we've had, like, again, we'll get to it, but, like, that's just, there's so much.
Like,
there's so much.
I like Keiwa a lot. Exactly, it's like, that one person, which is, like, the true spirit of a Kamen Rider, and like, he's finally getting to a point where like him doing the stuff he does is getting contaminating to the other, like, well, I mean, like Nago's did his whole shtick, but even then right now, like both him, Ace, and Neon are all trying to be like, well, the GP's not working right now, but who cares? Someone needs to save the world.
I also love Keiwa's, like, Kamen Rider pose, how it's a reference to O's, I believe. And
okay, very
it's a
early.
nod, yeah.
Like,
very early. And it evolves!
Well, no, and that was really cool. Again, as you said, like, like, you're growing alongside Keiwa. You see him growing to the character that he is and going, like, stumbling into, like,
Henshin?
Random pose. Henshin, but now he has the most complicated henshin.
Oh, no, it's so funny, because, like, from clips I've seen, the other actors tease him about it, and his actor really seems to love doing the pose, and they're just like, oh my god, dude, like, it's so long now, what the hell? And then Ace is just like, I just snapped my fingers.
They had a whole interview thing about, like, where there's a point where you need to have, like, a, faster version of it, and like everyone was like, okay, well, like just doing the end part, just snapping his fingers.
Yeah, Nago just has a wave, and then
making the wave faster. And I'm like,
meanwhile, he's like, I'm ready. Woo!
Does the actual wolf sting super speed?
I love that. I love every bit of that.
It's great.
All right, so I wanted to bring this up as an interesting point as well, where it's like, I feel that at this point we have two writers that share the tertiary spot, because we have Buffa and we have Nago, because you can't really count Nago out of that third tertiary.
No, exactly.
Because they've really been sharing the spotlight about equally and like they're different archetypes of the tertiary. And again, girl as the tertiary. Hey, yeah, let's go.
Well, no, exactly. Like
I love both of them.
As you said, they're both sharing the spot of the tertiary, like, like, technically, like, Buffa is more tertiary than her, but, like, that's...
And he's more of the trope, too, of, like,
if you want to get really into it...
Oh, no, here we go.
Keiwa's the fourth rider.
How
because
dare!
We had Fire Truck Man.
Oh, my God.
We had Kamen Rider Shiroe? Something like that. Like, technically he was a secondary rider, Buffa was tertiary.
Listen, we're not gonna get into a debate like that, but just because you're a rider on screen for like 2 minutes does not a tertiary or secondary make.
What?
Oh, wait, no, if he appeared on screen first, does that make him the first rider?
Oh my god, yeah, that would make Ace a tertiary. Shiroe is the first rider.
Is he? Does he show up first?
I forgot if it's Buffa or Shiroe that shows up first. It's one of those two.
Yeah, because Geats catches...
He shows up
Geats
last.
catches and Nago and Keiwa.
He's just like hanging out. Yeah, he's hanging out.
So yeah, Geats are my favorite tertiary, right?
Like, Ace hangs out in the break room and they're like, haha, I'm here. It's like, bitch kid. Like, and Mission I was like, bitch kid to steal a spotlight.
Acting
again.
Like the total star of stars that he is.
Star of the stars of the stars.
It's Nago! Let's get on to Nago.
Well, no, okay, like, again, Neon's super interesting, like, with her whole shit of, like, she's a quote-unquote princess that can have everything she wants, and, like, the one thing but everything that she wants is,
she wants freedom.
Yeah, she wants freedom. In a case of, like, like, what? But you have everything you could possibly want. It's like, no, that's all material stuff, and what I want is something that, the character that has, like, I want something that money can't buy. And it's interesting to see her fight for it, because, she is, for all cases and purposes, a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
But literally will go out of, well, again, like with her whole, like, she was the disaster. And it was interesting to have her being the traitor, being like, oh god, I have to do this shifty stuff for the sake of my wish. And I think it's interesting because, again, like, it shows, like, no, she is willing to fight for her dream, as vague as it is. I feel certain, like, her dream is not just, like, romantic love in the term that we're thinking, like, literally, like, a true, genuine love. And, like, at one point, like, at multiple points in the series, you see her, like, really having, like, kind of, like, the doki dokis for, like, people are like, oh my god, like, you have, like, siblings that you care so much for both Keiwa and...
yeah, because there's Keiwa and there's Sai, yeah.
And Lopo, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I know exactly, and, like, and, like, you think that's more... I like it.
And
because,
that might have
like,
been a realization for her where it was like, maybe it was originally romantic love that she wanted, but when she sees the bond between Keiwa and his sister, she's like, maybe that's more what I need. Like, and a buddy, an ally, like, a friend, like,
Well, no, exactly. And, like, to be fair, that could still be what her wish ends up being in the end, but I like the ambiguity of the way it's said.
Absolutely.
Where it could go either way. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's... well, pretty much. Like, that's exactly it. Like, like, it's a vague kind of wish in a way that makes me not just like, okay, well, like, Nago's not just a girl.
No, exactly. Because, like, she does fit a lot of the girl archetype, which, was my initial impression was like, oh, I'd rather have, the strong types. I'm more inclined to characters like, it was Lupo, right? Lupo/Sai. And so when, Nago...
The wolf one.
Yeah, but Nago's got layers to her that I find really interesting, and her interactions with the others I've really been enjoying. And she can fight, like, she really gets into her role. Like, she rocks that beat buckle like nobody's business. And oh my god, she does not have it easy, like the first time we see her mother... She slaps her in the face and knocks her to the floor. Like, I'm like,
oh, fuck you, lady.
My god, I'm like, no.
It helps you cheer for Neon.
And putting tracking devices on her daughter, I'm just like, no.
Meanwhile, like, she has that kind of quote-unquote fun chasing relationship with Ben and John. Where, like, they're like,
so much.
Like, Oto-sama, we have to bring you back.
That time John dresses as a woman and it comes out. It's
well, like, it's
perfect, flawless victory. That is the highlight.
Well, like, they're kind of like, it's a weird kind of friendship that they share with Neon. Like, you can tell that Ben and John, while being bodyguard
they
employees,
really care about
Neon as well.
The same way that her father now we've had more confirmation too. He really cares about his daughter.
Mr. Timefire!
We have not watched that Sentai.
We are
aware of the reference.
We have not watched Time Ranger, no. But, like, we know that, like, it's the actor for Neon's dad is the actor for Timefire, and then every time he shows up, we just yell Timefire.
I was so sure when because we had the glare suit teased. I thought he would be the one wearing it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's Giori, that's fine.
Well, again, like, it's the way the whole rider sponsorship / staff thing goes on is really complex in a fascinating way. I'm like, well, again, talking about Neon, like, with that little reveal of, like, she's the result of a wish.
Yeah, no, and
so, like, that implies that, like, that Mr. Timefire, like, won a DGP.
Mr. Timefire should have absolutely punched the director in the face for that one, for saying, like, oh, we gave you a daughter, and, like, you're incapable of displaying your proper affections for her. I'm like, he deserved a big dick in the face for that one. I'm like, fuck you.
No, exactly. But to be fair, they are also technically correct. Please show her proper love.
No, it's true. I think it's
not
complicated.
Just like, oh, like, I need to let her wish for the truth.
It's funny too when that got brought up, because, like, for a millisecond, because this can't be the case. Probably it would be interesting if it was, but, like, imagine he had lost a DGP and, like, lost the desire to, like, care for his daughter in, like, traditional means, like, like, to, like, show her, like, affection. Like, he lost that desire, but then he still, like, was like, I still want a daughter sort of thing.
Well, again, like at that point, this is me just going.
It's probably not the case. Yeah. It's probably more like social obligations and like other stuff and complicated.
But this is me also wondering just how much of Mr. Timefire's life is a result. Like that's the thing. Like is the Kurama conglomerate what it is because of DGP results? Like, and it makes me excited to learn more about like Neon's family, of course. Outside of like your mom. Like I get it, she's severely traumatized from things that have happened.
Yes, from Neon getting because it was
kidnapped.
She got kidnapped. Yeah,
she got kidnapped.
Which
and
I get
for
that,
ransom.
but like you can't invade your child's privacy like
to the degree that she is.
They will because I mean it will have the opposite effect. Like you will sacrifice the relationship with your kid by not giving them that space.
But no, like just saying basically that like I'm very invested with our quote unquote 4 main riders.
Me too.
They're clearly our 4 main characters, and like it's not like it lets go for any second for any of these secondary staff. Like the things like Tsumori's funny, cute. She's like weirdly,
love her.
But she's also weirdly scary. Because you're like I really like her a lot because, like, she's going like, yes, I'm just the announcer. I'm just part of the staff.
She's got so much personality in her own way.
Yeah, and then you get stuff like,
the little funny bits she does, too. Like, that time Ace is, like, talking to Mishinaga, and then he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're siblings now because of my wish. And she's, like, just takes hurried steps, like, away from him. Yep. And then that time Keiwa and her got blown up during a challenge, and she's like, ah!
It's what the I didn't see. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But no, exactly. Like Suri's plenty funny, but she's also, again linked to everything. She's really ominous.
That outfit, though.
Why are you pointing? Like, I'm just still like, why are you pointing a gun at Ace?
We don't know. I need to know.
Sumeri, girl, please explain.
It's okay. It's just a Gertlinger.
Ah.
Just from a side note, we've been
Zenkaiger is great.
Zenkaiger is great. It's our first Sentai we've ever watched. And we've been watching, like, sometimes we'll watch a Geats episode and then we'll be like, hey, do you want to watch a Zenkaiger episode for, like, a completely different feel and just laugh? And I'm just gonna say this too, like, if you are a Rider-only fan and you haven't tried a Sentai, Zenkaiger is a really fun one to get into. It's a lot of laughs. It's a lot of heart. Really good.
Tokusatsu is just a really fun genre, and you're doing yourself a disservice to not try other things than the main one. To be fair, it is completely okay for you to like just one time. It's okay to like Kamen Rider and not like Super Sentai.
Basically, experiment, give other stuff a chance, and if it's not for you, then that's all there is to be said. Like, you do you, man.
Oh yeah, like the best way I'll say this is basically like there's the same way I feel that there's a Rider series for everyone. I feel that there's a Sentai series for everyone. There's a Ultraman, there's a Garo for everyone. Well, there's not as many Garo, but you know what I mean.
But no, and like what we've been doing too with our friend groups too, and like we absolutely adore.
Slowly introducing to more tokusatsu.
We absolutely adore all of our friends that are like willing to like sit down with us and like watch some Kamen Rider, and yet some of them have gotten really into it. Like
slowly but surely.
We'll
conquer the world with tokusatsu.
But yeah, like. What we've started to do too for choosing what series that our friends that we should introduce our friends to. We actually we just got a bunch of posters from the series, and we just put them in chats, and it's like, hey, which ones do you guys want to watch? Basically, which one appeals to you? We give a quick little summary of X8. I give the whole it's video it's video games and doctors, and I know this sounds crazy. But it works, and I can't explain how it works. It just does. It just does. But
as a quick example.
No, and that's how we've been doing it for the past little while, and it's really been good. And yeah, that's just a little advice for if you're trying to get your friends into Rider. Ask what series they would like to watch, and go from there. And then you can introduce your favorite if they don't pick yours.
But no, going back on the character stuff too.
Yes.
Just the side characters have been so interesting to see. I love how. We have Girori as the suave butler man, but actually the game master. and him slowly getting like more and more angry at Geats' very existence to the point like, literally ruins him and gets removed from the whole thing, from manipulating the sacred ground that is the DGP and its real
sacred in quotation marks.
But
But I'll be honest too, like I really miss Giori. I'm not happy about what he did, but he was really good at running the DGP until he kind of lost his shit.
It's because we don't like the new Game Master.
I don't like him. He's so annoying. The only bonus, like the only plus to him is like Sumuri and other characters like going like, no, like
fuck you.
Yeah, basically like, no, fuck you, shut up.
Shut the hell up.
like putting him in his place, because Sumuri called him out last episode. It's like, enough with your crocodile tears, because that is absolutely what. And he just stops immediately.
Because right now they're also in trouble specifically because of him, because he's annoying.
No, and like, the whole reason Baraba. I'm always worried about mispronouncing it. But like, the whole reason she even got as far as she is right now is because, he didn't, he wasn't careful.
She manipulated things like, well, if we don't send Jabaus for a while, he'll get handsy. And then like, just decide like, new game! Find me!
And I'm like, sir.
What? You found me? No!
But yes, so Punkjack.
I love him.
I want him back so bad.
But like,
that's the worst thing that Giori did by far, and I want him back. He needs to come back.
But like, Punkjack just was. It was really fun being like, no, like, he's like, yes, like, I am a manipulative part of the staff. If they told me to do this, I'll do it. And like, he's joking, flirting with Sumuri. And they're like, again, like, adding to Sumuri's fun of like, no, I don't give a shit.
It's this, and like, he's such a goofball too, because he's like, I'm trying to be the manipulative one, but I'm also a fucking goofball, so Geats see-throughs me every time!
Literally that first challenge...
He reads me like a coloring book!
That first challenge that he's in, being like, oh, Geats, oh, my stomach, I need to go take a shit, you can continue. It's like, what? And it's like, he'll never get it. Like, poking from a corner, now we'll never win. And then, like, Ace still winning. He's like, what? I can't believe it! Like, and that was really funny. And then, like, just his poor attempts at cheating. And it was really fun, too, then seeing, again, this mask crumble.
Yep.
Because then you have Giori putting more and more pressure into him until literally, like, Ace being like, you can do it for yourself. It's a DGP. If you have a desire, if you win, you can have your own wish.
And this goes back again to Ace having chemistry with everyone, because I think that is also a very valid ship. Oh, they're cute.
But no, like, technically we haven't seen Punkjack explode.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we'll see. I won't see him again, though.
It was the one time where I don't know if Ace had a plan for that. Because we see a little bit of regret on him, and I'm just like, okay, is he faking it? Was there a plan? Which I don't think there was. Like, it was one of those things that I think legitimately caught him off guard. If I'm wrong, I'm just happy as long as Punkjack is back, alright?
Well, it was great that way, like, because Giori was manipulating Keiwa a bit too, to be like, no, you can surpass Geats. Here, this item for you. And it was great how, like, Keiwa's trust in Ace went all the way back, and then, like, Ace, Keiwa, Neon, all working together, like, actually, Game Master, we've bamboozled you the whole time, and we went to talk to the producer. And it's like, what? No!
And then that became a problem too. Like, it was the three of them ganging up on Giori, and that dynamic got wrecked because of Nago being the disaster in the next DGP after that. And I gotta give credit to our boy Keiwa every time, because again, sees through Giori's plan, and then sees through Nago's plan of like, oh yeah, you didn't suspect me because you want me here, because you think you can manipulate me into voting Ace or whoever else is left. It's just people keep underestimating him, and he's come so far, and it's working to his advantage.
Exactly. Like that's exactly. And that was such a good moment because he was like, "You've never tried to accuse me. You're only saying that Ace is a star."
Yeah, and you're being so adamant about this right now, and like he was like, "This is coming off brand a bit."
Well, no, exactly. Like, you can argue that it's salty, but, like, that's the thing, too. And, again, like, he was like, yeah, no, Ace would not actually purposely miss.
Like, and, Ace's reply is also just great to it, too, where it's like, I might be, I might not, but, like, you have to decide, like, I can't convince you otherwise. I've betrayed you before, but I'm being honest with you now.
Mm-hmm. That whole moment was pretty great, even if it led
really
into,
great.
like...
I'm sorry they didn't get to talk more after that, because we went into our recap episode and so much other stuff happened.
Basically, like, and now we have the Jamato Grand Prix.
Yeah, and now the Disaster stuff, and, that betrayal has just kind of been left by the wayside. Like, we didn't really get to see them forgive Nago or work towards, forgiving her for that. And it's just kind of like, no, now we need to work together immediately without that sort of discussion.
And meanwhile...
I wanted that. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, it is good for them as Kamen Riders being like, there are more important things than the DGP. And, like, we need to take care of business and get this stuff done more than dealing with the DGP and the business
and
stuff.
That's understandable. It goes so fast once the reveals kick in. But before we get to that, should we talk about challenges and buckles?
Yes, that would be a good spot to move on from there. I would say challenge-wise, there's nothing that quite got me as excited as the Jamato Labyrinth.
That's my favorite.
The Maze Mansion.
We were watching with one of our friends, like, that episode literally yesterday, and I was just like, oh, this one's so good. And I thought about it, too, because, like, a lot of the challenges are still just beat things up, and then there's a little thing you have to figure out about things.
There's a gimmick to it, and they have to figure out the gimmick to win.
There's not really anything that's like a full-blown puzzle, which this one was.
Yeah, because, like, before that we had, like, the first one was already just, like, get a buckle to win.
Yep.
If you die, you're dead. The next, what was it? It was the, I forgot the one before King the Can.
There's Zombie. There's the zombie one.
Right, there you go. The zombie outbreak was interesting, but again, not that much to it outside of just, like, beat the zombies before everyone's infected.
That one had a lot of, like,
betrayal.
Again, on the edge of our seats, too, because I'm like, oh, we've got 2 people infected with the zombie stuff. How does that work?
And one of them's an asshole.
And one of them is just a dude who has the zombie buckle who is actually not infected.
Yep. And then, like, after that, it is the 2 cards.
Yep.
The card one was interesting. I liked, like...
It was. The only thing that I think that, like, kind of frustrates, like, anyone watching is just, like, we know... The viewer knows immediately where this is going, and it takes them a while to figure it out. But those are still some really good episodes, because you've got Mary, who we haven't really talked about because he hasn't been relevant for a very long time. I enjoyed his character. I love the voice that the actor has for him. It's really... It's weirdly endearing and, like, like... fake charming, I guess.
No, exactly, and that, again, fits completely with his character.
It's, like, sleazy, like, charming, as opposed to, like, Ace's polished act.
The King the Can one was super stressful, even, like, it was, like the things that, like, that was just that it's the gimmick is kicking the can more than anything else. Like, just, big monster kick the can, or it will drink his literal monster energy drink.
And then he will whip a Nene.
Yep, he did. He did, and then disappeared. And then after that was the end of that DGP.
Yep, and then we had Pirates. We had Pirate Jamato.
The Pirate one was by far the most boring, because it was just like, stay in one spot and make sure they don't touch things.
It's the first challenge. Like, I guess that's just, kind of how it goes most of the time. Because, like, again, the first one for the first set that we are given access into seeing is... find a buckle and don't die. And
then after that, it is the labyrinth.
Yeah.
And again, that was super interesting because like Keiwa, by twist of fate, gets stuck into it. But you as a viewer, you get super stressed. Like, oh God, Keiwa, what happened to you? You used to want world peace. And he's like, I don't really give a shit about
like
world
my
peace
boy.
anymore.
Because, like, Nago not wanting to run away from home, that's concerning. But, you know, she gets back into the DGP so fast that it's like, okay, this isn't a problem
You
anymore.
didn't get
We're
a long
okay.
time to be like, something is wrong.
I would have loved to have seen. I feel I feel it would have been really unsettling to see more interactions with her mother, just like having a pleasant time with her, and then we're going like, oh God, something's not right here.
As you said, like Nago, we quickly saw like we quickly went from like something is kind of off to oh she's fine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Keiwa, you got to see like something is wrong. What the hell, boy? To the explanation, like yeah, if you lose the DGP, you also lose the desire.
Yeah.
Itself.
And that is horrifying.
That is super
There's
horrifying.
so many desires a person could have where it's just like, oh my God, you just lose this drive completely.
And then meanwhile you have like, well again, like just to say how good the Labyrinth challenge was, like it was great because you had the Jamato riders being like, oh, this is scary as shit. You had the hostages being like, oh, they will die if
There's
they get
a lot
too close.
of different elements going
You
on.
had Grandpa being the best goddamn old man ever.
The best person. I love it.
And be like, yo, I have to do this to save them kids. Like, I have to step up to the plate. You know, literally, step up to being a hero. It's not a game. I have to do it. You kids have so much to live
By
for.
far, one of the most satisfying exits from the DGP. Just going like, oh, I don't need my wish anymore of being youthful because, like, you know, you youngins have taught me a lot today and stuff like that. It was
as long as I live my life to the fullest. Like, that was so good. Because, again, like, that's the thing. Like, that realization from Grandpa.
It was really powerful.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Now that he's gone back to, like, it's okay if he loses this desire because he has this new outlook on life now. So it's all good.
Exactly.
He literally lost the desire before he went back, and now he will be able to just enjoy his life.
Well, no, exactly. And then, like, you know, bring Keiwa back into
That's what I would choose to believe anyway.
But no, and like, again, too, like, I love the fever buckle. Like, I like how...
Are we moving into buckles now? We can move into buckles.
Because we're both in, like, challenge and speculation, and then, like, everything from the Desistars, from that third DGP has been mostly okay.
But no, I mean,
yeah, because then it was like, just like, find the principal of the Jamato school.
Which I think that was funny, you know? That's kind of... I would say that in concept, that's the second closest.
The Liquid Jamatos were hilarious.
They were. That's the second closest in concept to the mansion, but not as good for me. Because, like, again, that one's my favorite. There was the basketball one, which was okay.
the weird, like, basketball episode was pretty good, and...
I want to say, too, none of these challenges are bad. It's just nothing hits as good as the mansion one for me.
No, exactly.
I think that's, in construction, that is the most... clever one. There's a cat meowing now, but just ignore him. He'll be okay.
The thing that I like with that ball game was really just like, you know, it was frustrating for the audience because you're like, well, Kay was clearly not the traitor. You, Sussy, Baka, Natch, Sparrow are obviously the traitor.
It was so funny too.
And then he wasn't, so that was great.
I stopped us and I had us rewind too because like Sai says, yeah, I saw you talking to the Jamato too, but you don't see that. We, the audience, don't see that. So I'm like, oh, is that a tip-off that Sai is actually the disaster?
Yeah.
And it wasn't, but it's totally played up when they did pretend that she was for a little bit. And I was like, oh, damn, was I right? Oh, man, oh well. But I part of me did suspect Nago. My problem is that when it comes to, like, suspecting, like, who's what in these sorts of things, it's hard for me to lock down unless I have more information.
It's one of those cases too where, like, you know, like, clearly you wouldn't suspect our main three contestants. Mm-hmm. They've been here the whole time. They would never do anything like this. They're good people. Nago did what? But, you know, like, it was... Specifically Natch Sparrow, where, like, you know, he was so obviously...
Oh, yeah, like, no, you're so obvious that you can't possibly be the disaster.
I like that he's, you know, like, now he's sided with the bad guys, because, like, his wish is really, like, I care about the knowledge of everything, and I get to know more siding with the bad guys than siding with the good guys. And that's super interesting. Again, it made me actually care for him existing.
Yeah, no. It's interesting. I'll definitely say he's not my favorite, but, like, you know, I'm, like, what he's doing right now fits his character, and, like, you know, he's likable to hate.
And then, like, I guess, like, after that, it's the bomb fruit.
The fruit,
And
that one was a good episode though.
That was a good episode. I didn't like care for the challenge much itself, but I did care about the stress it imposed.
I know, that's exactly it. Like, again, none of these challenges are bad per se. We just have our favorites of the bunch. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, it was just like hide and seek, and that one was kind of stupid. But we knew it was stupid. Like, it was stupid on purpose.
Yeah.
No one would care for it.
But no, so
I guess that from now we can move on to the our favorite buckles. I'll answer right away. It's zombie. Zombie's my favorite buckle. I just adore that armor. Like that armor plus the chainsaw plus the glove.
I'll be honest too. I think that armor pretty much looks good on anyone. Have you seen anyone who you don't like the armor on?
Let's see, because Ace has used the buckle, Kawa and Nago.
Yeah, she just used it, yeah.
Tycoon and Nago
Sai used it, and it looked pretty alright on her.
I would say, like, she's the one that it looked the most bland on.
I thought it was alright with the blue tones in her helmet.
Yeah.
Like, her light blue tones.
But, like, I would say, like, I thought it looked good on everyone else. It looked better on everyone else.
Oh, okay.
And, like, I love the... Okay, basically, I love how metal as fuck the zombie buckle is... Put your big creepy hand in the ground, 1,000 ants sprout in, goddamn chainsaw sword. I love, again, like, how much, I'll get to that later when I talk about the fever buckle. But, yeah, like, just everything about, like, the zombie buckles and its abilities, I adore.
No, and
like, it adds, again, like, the zombie buckle is as much part of, Mishinaga's specific arsenal than everyone, but it's really interesting when you get to see other people use it.
Yeah, and like it's pretty high up there too for me. It's really hard for me to choose one. I want to say my absolute favorite buckle by far is Armed Water. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I do have a soft spot for it for like the lulls of it because like
it was very interesting because it was back when they were using those armed weapons, like, because right now they barely use them if at all.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, back when that was really a thing, that was super interesting. It's like, oh, hey, even you can do something with even the crappiest pulls.
No, exactly.
But no, what would you say is your favorite buckle?
I'm having a really hard time because, like, I do adore Zombie. Ninja has some good stuff going for it. Boost is really neat. I like the little accented colors it gives.
I like that everyone has their own little motorcycle monster.
No, yeah, that's so cute. But I think for me, see, again, this is hard because, like, for all the stuff it can do, though, like, I think tied with Zombie for me is the beat buckle.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's gorgeous. It's basically like having all your main Kingdom Hearts spells except Cure in a guitar.
You have a buff too, like which you.
Yeah, no, you got that too. You just can't restore health as far as we can tell. Maybe you can. Who knows?
I would, but no, for me, like, by far, it's Zombie Buckle first and foremost. I like Ninja a lot too.
I like Ninja a lot too.
Like, they do some crazy shit with Ninja.
I would probably put Ninja in my second.
I'm always a big fan of those things that make, like, like too fast for the eye to see that they do with Ninja, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Beat Buckle is pretty cool. The powered builder one. That one's weird, but like I'm kind of okay with it.
It can do a lot. Like, again, we haven't seen the movie where it's first shown, and we just have it. We've just seen it used in the series.
Yeah.
I know it has a lot of functionality to it because we've seen the premium Bandai like the toy release for it.
Magnum is, I would say, is like the straight in the middle. I like it, but only on Ace.
No, that's fair.
Like, it is Geats' main quote-unquote buckle.
People rarely use it. Like, it rarely shows up.
Yeah, Dapan and Geats use it.
Yeah.
That's it. I think.
And then I think the third spot for me is Fever.
Oh, I love the Fever. Okay. I like the Monster Buckle because
I do love the Monster
Monster's
Buckle.
really goofy as fuck.
It is very specific on who it looks good on, too. Like, on Punk Jack, it's perfect. It's
On Natch
perfect.
Sparrow, it's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
But that's mostly because his element itself is weird.
Well, it's just like, for his design, I was kind of hoping he'd get another buckle where it's like, okay, this is the best one on me. But it's just like he gets monster instead. I'm like, okay, weird flex, but all right.
That's because you're bringing up that point. The things are like, when ninja and zombie get brought up, it's like, oh yeah, like, yeah, there you go. During that zombie challenge, you bring up the file like, hey, specific buckles are better on specific people. And the things that we get new riders, but we don't necessarily get new buckles that fit them. The things that, like, the powered builder is the antagonist rider's main buckle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Kamen Rider Elk.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that thing like that. So we don't get like, a Kamen Rider Lopo specific belt. We don't get a Natch Sparrow specific belt.
We don't get one for the old man either. When he just uses
cable.
Yeah, we think that we're led to believe that ninja is the best fit, but we don't really get to see if it's the best fit.
Well, no, exactly. That's the thing. Like it's one of those where like, okay, we haven't gotten new rider specific belts, but we've gotten new buckles.
Oh, do you know what's really awful too?
Yeah.
I only just now remember the other girl that joined with the old guy in the DGP and gets killed the exact same episode, and she's using like armored propeller or whatever, and I'm just like, I know people were upset at the time too, because it's like, another girl, and again she's wishing like, I want to lose weight so I can get a boyfriend. I'm just like, oh my god, honey, you're worth so much more. Thank God we have Sai.
Yeah.
I liked Sai a lot. She took a while to grow on me because she's so mean to Keiwa at first. But I really ended up liking her. And
Sai was cool.
I really like Nago and her relationship too.
Yeah, because it was very much like, like they added, it gives Nago that little bit of like, siblingness, or like, getting to talk directly with someone that has that thing that she desires and get to understand her desire more. Mm-hmm. It adds to the more like thing like, what is Neon's picture of genuine love? And like, they're showing like, well, is it siblings? Like, does she need siblings? Stuff like that. Or like, hey, does she have like slight feelings for Sai? Stuff like that. Like,
I wish.
Like Sai was very much crossed. Like, like, I like you, Neon, and I will take the blame for you.
Like, such a good girl.
Stuff like that.
In the end, she was a really good girl.
But no, what else for buckle? Well, you mentioned the fever buckle. I love that one. I love the wool. Okay, I really like the randomness of it.
Yep, and the gold bling that you get on it, and it's different for everyone. It's lovely. It's
is so
fantastic, like, detail to add on to that.
I was really sad because, like, we got it for the library, and then they didn't use the fever buckle for a while, and now they just start reusing it. Yeah. And like, perfect, thank you. I love it. I love the. It adds to the completeness. Like, and as far as I'm concerned, the rider suits don't look fully complete because when they only have one half.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
like,
just having access to that other half, yeah.
Exactly, and then like seeing double full armors, like like zombie, magnum, boost, ninja, beat. Monster looks stupid, and that's mostly specifically because the feet are also punches.
And I mean, like, that's just part of Monster's flavor of it too.
Yeah. But
it's supposed to be cartoony, silly.
I agree with you. Like, I adore like the gold accessory they all get from it. Like Geats' scarf, Buffa's side skirt gets gold.
Yeah, Keiwa's got like a leg.
It's
band.
A bracelet on. Yeah, it's a leg band, and Nago it's a bracelet. I think.
If memory serves.
That one's the one that's the hardest to see. Pongjack gets.
It goes really fast.
Yeah, Pongjack gets double capes.
Hell yeah.
But no, stuff like that. It's really nice to see, and I like the element of randomness. Like, that it makes... Well, Nago would be the best example of it in that last episode, where, like, Nago would never normally use zombie, but then got to use it. And like,
again, it's like, on anyone, it's also just a powerful buckle.
It's not like when Keiwa used the zombie buckle, took it from Lopo, and then literally, like, went on a rampage. Yeah. Like, that was cool as hell. And like, you would never otherwise get to see Keiwa use a zombie buckle. But like, in this case, again, like, you would never see Nago use a zombie buckle, but she got it from the fever buckle, so then she's good to go. So I really like that buckle as well. as you said, Boost is also the other one. Like, okay, Boost is cool.
The weird ass buckle that seems to have some form of sentience seems to have a crush on Ace and seems to loathe Kawa with every fiber
Tries to kill Kawa every time.
Like, stop having your sponsor give me to you, and it's like, I'm not even asking for you. Just hits him in the face every time.
Every single time.
Every time. But no, we don't need to go over every single buckle either. But I
think the only two left is really specifically like the twin buckle. The Jamato buckle is scary.
It's scary.
Jamato riders are scary. Yeah.
We'll corrupt you. We'll turn you into a mossy half demon, whatever you want to call, whatever the fuck is happening to Mishinaga right now. My baby.
No,
my boy.
The twin command buckle is really cool.
I think it's neat.
Being our only double belt, like, you know, like it's double from the get-go.
And you were so funny too, because like when it got teased, a bunch of people were saying like, oh, it's like the Gundam one, and I was like, oh, Antho will love this one. And you saw the pictures and you were like, it's okay. And then you see it in action and you're like, never mind, I need to buy it. And the sword.
I can say it's because like at the very beginning, like for the most part, I don't necessarily like how it affects the masks.
We don't like how it looks on Buffa. It just doesn't do him any favors.
Well, now that he's fully suited, I am okay with it.
I'm still weird about the visor.
But basically, that pre-form with just the sword and the visor, I don't like on anyone.
No, but it is fascinating that's how that works.
Yeah. But then when they get fully suited up, I think it looks really cool. And again, super fascinating. This is our one buckle that is both sides at every time.
But no, and I think that's pretty much all the buckles, which is fun because we don't need to.
That is pretty much it for like literally the next buckle that we're gonna see is the Boost Mark II, and I'm looking forward to that.
Oh boy, yeah, we'll get. I guess we can dive right into our speculations and just the reveals we've had. So,
or if you want, we can also talk real quick about like the laser ray.
We'll get to that because that'll kind of go into like
speculations.
Yeah, sure. I think so. Oh no! I mean,
well, we can talk about it as we move into.
No, let's talk about it now because otherwise I'm afraid we'll forget.
Well, okay, like that's the other thing too. Like, you know, we had the sponsors for a while being like, man, those are mysterious beings. They're like cheering on and sending rewards to our characters from time to time, and knowing that like no, they even have access to their own special Kamen Rider belts and privileges is really cool. Zin is a bit of a too big of a fanboy, but you know, he's finally getting like stuff to make me like, okay, you know what, like I'm kind of.
I don't hate Zin by any means, but I am going like, oh, I want Ace to hang out with the others more. Like he's spending so much time with you. Like can you just go do something else? Like I don't.
Well, like,
he's fine.
Kawa's sponsor is the best. I just love it.
I love him.
Like
he's so funny.
Literal, like it's because like for me, it's like he's the Yakuza the Yakuza tough guy archetype. Like, hey, we're like, well,
do your best, kid.
Do your best, kid. I'm rooting for you.
I know, I love him.
And or like Kawa going like, what's this frog statue? We're like,
put me down!
Put me down! Ah!
And now we've finally seen him in his human adopted form too.
He's perfect.
And it was so funny. I lost my shit because everyone's just kind of like, oh, Dade, like who the fuck are you? And it's like he's like crouching. He's like, I'm the frog guy, like you know.
Oh. Okay, I thought it was very. Weird would be the best word I have for it when like Zin turns into like, you know, your quote unquote typical rider form.
Yeah.
But then when the other three turn into their rider forms, they're like, you know, like, oh, frog robot, sphinx robot, giant buffalo robot.
I told you too at the time, I was just like, I'm almost positive that's because, except for Baroba.
Yeah.
Except for her, I feel like the other two, they were just kind of like, oh my god, I don't want to make another suit today. Save money.
But at the same time, like, or you and I.
The animation on them isn't bad either.
No, exactly. Like, our argument too is that, like, this might be closer to each of them their real form, their real
but
self.
I would have loved to have suits for those two.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you on that. Like,
Maroba is a different case where it's like, okay, yeah, and I understand, like, but then that brings me to another point. Why the fuck did they give her this thing?
Well, no, they keep going like, no, you're not supposed to be here. Actually, I am. I'm a sponsor for the monsters. Oh, well, I guess you get to have your own toy too.
I guess you get to have your own toy too that can like blow up like a whole goddamn like area.
I'm sure you won't use it to betray us.
No, like that part I don't understand. Like why the DGP is like, yeah, let's just let her have this weapon of mass destruction basically, and it's like no.
It's really kind of funny because like
funny.
It's
but
like,
it also makes my brain hurt. Like how director son, what? Why?
Realism.
Oh, I mean, he would be like that now, wouldn't he?
He would.
He absolutely would.
But no, like it's interesting, and I like that like they got to the point like okay, they're also participating in this conflict for the sake of like okay, well, because the conflict has evolved further than the confines of the game show itself. Now it's like no, okay, now they have to participate out of obligation. Because
that's how deep this shit is right now.
Yeah, like, cause like she's like, yeah, I'm doing this so I can get the power to remake the world
like
as I want.
There is actual like there's real stakes here, not just I mean there was always stakes, but now the sponsors like everyone's in danger at this point. I want to talk about too how you were mad and I was mad because of the premium Bandai, the belt for the sponsors.
We always get upset about premium Bandai
because okay, they got really cool stuff. My God, is it not always easy to get here in the West? But then on top of that, specifically for the sponsors, belts and guns, they're sold separately.
Oh yeah, I'm upset because like the Raise Riser, like you have the gun. With Zin and Baroba's cards, and the rider belt proper where the gun hooks up to, like, is separate with the other two's cards. I get it.
And it's like but why would you ever buy one? Like, even, if this isn't just like, an adult collector, this is like, for a kid, like, oh cool, I can't do half of the stuff I see in the show.
Like, the only thing I can say is I think this might be their only way to, having to, like, the problem with Revise I saw a lot was that half the belts are on Premium Bandai. And, like, this might be their way to avoid, like, putting those separately makes it, like, possible to have them in retail. Because the thing that, like, the gun is still a gun used for these purposes.
No, that's fair.
Meanwhile, like, sure, you want the rider thing, then, like, there you go. You get the belt separately with the bonus of the other two things.
Yeah.
And, like, it was that or having the whole shebang together as a super pricey package I would only be able to get on Premium Bandai.
Another thing we were talking about the other day that I brought up was I don't think we're ever gonna see a CSM of the Geats driver. Like, there's too much they'd need to remake. Maybe there would be, like, a limited one with, like, voice line. Well, I mean, we have the sound cores now.
Yeah.
That are super expensive, but I still want them because I love having voice lines in my belts. It gives me another connection to this show when I have those voice lines.
And I getcha. Like, they played it all on purpose.
I know! Specifically to target me! I mean, we bought the Shotaro Philip memories that have the voice line specifically so that I could have those. It's a very specific one with them both on it. We don't have the other ones, but I was just so happy to have, like, any of them.
But no, and, like, just basically, like, I find Geats has had really cool merch. The rider buckles have been, for the most part, really cool, and I've been...
If they made the swords and the beat buckle, like, guitar in full size, I would be all about that stuff.
But we get to the, like, this is kids' toys versus, like, properly sized accessories.
I just want proper sized props, what can I say?
But no, I guess now would be a good time to, like, basically to move on to reveals and speculations.
Yeah, so let's start with the biggest reveal too, and that's just the DGP is a game show.
Like, you had the thought that it was likely something along those lines due to it being, like, game related. Like, why are we fighting the Jamato for wishes? Like, are the Jamato part of the game show or not? They are, technically, but also not.
And then, we thought at the beginning, that it was some sort of deal with the Jamato species where it's like, we do this, and we don't, like, properly invade you, or, like, this is our compromise. It's not that.
No, because they're like, no, if the Jamatos win, you lose, like, literally everything.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and I have to say this, too, when it was revealed it was a game show, I was a little bit nervous because for my job, like my day job,
yeah.
I work on doing
Describe
closed captioning and describe video. So sometimes I have to work on a lot of reality shows, and at the time when this reveal came out, I was working on a ton of them, and I was so sick of it, and I was just like, okay, I'm tired of reality shows and stuff, and it's like, oh, by the way, this is now a reality show, and I'm like, because I was worried about what direction they would take it, because for me, it's very easy to get this premise done in a way that I wouldn't really like, but they didn't go too hard with, like, not hard with in a bad way, I guess. Like, you know,
there
they
was
had
not that much change in the grand scheme of things outside of adding the disaster star and those mini one-on-one interviews,
which were fine. That was all good, because, like, you know, reality shows do this all the time, where it's always like, no, like, you're my brother, I'd never sell you out, sells them out the next day. Like, it's all about creating this false betrayal. And, like, you know, at least the way Geats handled it, I liked what they did with it for the most part, so.
No, same, like, it didn't really change much, just like, okay, but, like, how messed up is this whole thing then? Like,
the answer is very.
It was big, you know, like, it just added onto the mysteries. It was, like, it revealed that, yeah, what is a DGP? Yeah, it's a game show. Oh, shit, but why? You know, and stuff like that, like, just because we can. Oh, also, like, this is a game show from the future. And we just move on between, like, different timelines.
Yeah, and before that happened, too, like, you and I were theorizing that it's Zin, right? Yeah. We were theorizing because of how his sponsor suit design is. It was kind of like spacey alien kind of. You were like, oh, they're from another world, or they're like aliens or something, adopting
dimension.
Human form. Which, you know, it's still weird because, you know, we've apparently got, like, you know, the frog sponsor and the dude is a Sphinx, and I'm like, then that's not really explained, but it's fine.
So I think it is not just that they're from the future. I think this is still going on with, like, yeah, they're also being some other dimensions and stuff.
If that is the case, I'm all for it, because, like, you know, just from the future is a little, like, not enough for me. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's still fine, and I do love that, oh, yeah, they've held this competition in, like, different periods of time on Earth, and that explains whatever the hell happened to Ace way back in the day with his mother.
Well, that's the thing, too. That's the part where, like, we don't know what is going on with Ace specifically, because, like, you know, he implied that he's been doing it since, like, ancient Rome.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you've been doing it since ancient Rome? Wait, what?
And then we had Zin being like, the first time I saw you, and he's, you know, a modern day, like, you know, student.
Yeah, school student. And, like, what?
So it's very... Oh, my brain.
That's the mystery of Ace himself and what the hell is going on with him. And again, to be fair, like, maybe his future coin is the future past. I don't know.
I don't know. In the future, we become ancient Rome again, or ancient Greece. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel we're finally starting to get to that point where, like, this is going to get revealed soon, at least. So, again, like, this is a lot of, like, okay, what is Ace to the DGP? What the fuck is Ace's mom? Is Ace's mom the goddess of creation? Is she the goddess?
Like, I don't know. Or does she have a connection with Sumeri? Is she, like, her reincarnated or something?
The only thing we've been told specifically is that, like, she was the
coordinator, navigator.
Yeah, she was a navigator before Sumeri. But what does that mean? And no one talks about it.
And, like, yeah, why can't Ace wish for her? Which, you know, I think is good evidence for, like, she is somehow the goddess. And that's also just me mostly tying back to, like, the connections with ancient Rome and stuff.
Yeah, and again, like, then that means, like, what
ancient
the
Rome,
fuck,
ancient Greece,
what is Ace then, and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
You know, maybe he's not.
Did he have more immortality by default? Like, you know, if some of the sponsors are, like, sphinxes and frogs, like, you know, Ace could, you know, be a demigod easy.
And, like,
it wouldn't be the strangest thing to happen in Kamen Rider, I can promise you that.
Yeah, to be fair, like, again, Ace could be from a different
dimension as well.
It's a
possibility.
But, okay, the things that, you know, Ace could potentially just be part of the system, quote unquote, which, like, you know, then he would, you know, like, I don't understand how their time travel thing works.
Yeah.
But, like, if Ace is part of the system, literally maybe he is a human from the past that was moved to the present as part of the system.
And that's why I'm hoping you're right, too, and that it is a different dimensions thing, because something Zin said last episode rubbed me the wrong way, because he, you know, he says, oh, we don't have festivals in our time, and Ace is just like, well, why not? Oh, everything is predetermined, like, you know, at birth for us, like, you know, who we fall.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that is a little too weird for a future that, like, you know, God knows how many years in the future. Yes, I get it. But it's a little weird, like, why... it just raises so many other questions. I'm like, Zin, why are you doing this to my brain?
I understand that they're meaning, like, you know, there's no war, there's no conflict, because everything is determined for it to be the best for you from, like, again, from your birth, like you said. I'm like,
and then it makes them sound like they're kind of miserable, because, like, or like, you know, they're bored.
Well, yeah, because that's what they're saying.
Everything's
like,
so formulaic.
That there's no need for desires. And, then, at that point, like, okay, well, yeah, so it's bland. So then they're bringing, like, yes, so we're bringing you real raw desire in its form that it used to be. And, like, you know, and then from there you have, well, Zin being the best example, like, now he has, like, Zin clearly has real emotions and wants. He wants to see Geats win. Stuff like that.
I can't help but wonder, too, that, like, if at some point, like, you know, Zin he's very attached to Geats, but he's also very attached to the DGP. So imagine the DGP itself, like, is in danger for another reason. What if it's the Riders? What if it's Keiwa, Ace, Michinaga, and Nago, like, you know, dismantling this for good, where it's like, okay, we don't need this anymore. Like, we're tired of lives being lost. I think Zin would absolutely try and stop them, because this is like... Yes,
absolutely. I believe you're correct. Like, I could easily see the entire set of sponsors fighting against our riders for the sake of, like, the DGP. Like, they
for their entertainment, for one of their joys in
life. They care about the
life.
DGP in one way or another, and like yes, we like you people. We are sponsoring you individuals.
But if you try to break the system, we're gonna snap your necks.
Well, no, exactly, and you know that'll be cool, because then again, like, because we're at the point where, like, the players are establishing relationships with the sponsors, like that's the thing.
And that could be super interesting.
Zin talks and literally now fights with Ace. Baroba's being a total psychopath. And, like, the other two are being cryptic to...
Speaking of which, we have barely talked about Nago's sponsor, actually. Now that I mention it.
Weird.
Weird.
Okay, it's more like just, like, I don't necessarily like the whole, like, charming prince behind the words, but also being kind of a total dickbag to her in real.
Which you can argue was the original... Nago's original wish, even, like, you know, I want a prince that can, because she says it too, I think.
Yeah,
I want a prince to take me away and, like, you know, give me my freedom, like, take me away from my family.
Yeah, she mentioned it during that very first DGP round.
And you could be like, oh, she doesn't think she can do this herself without help, sort of thing. And then we talked about how her desire, her wish might have changed over time, which is fantastic, because, you know, that base wish is it's too easy. It's...
again, like, this added to us thinking, like, she's
worth more than that. Yeah, she herself is worth more than that. And if she wasn't before, she's grown to become a better person that is capable of giving herself her freedom. I know that there's a way she can do it. But yeah, so her sponsor, I have a lot of mixed feelings about, where it's like, yeah, at first he gives her really good advice, like, you know, after the whole disaster stuff is, like, going down. And like, he seemed very self-assured and stuff, but then, again, the problem of just, like, you know, a dude coming in and fixing all our gals' problems like that.
Well, you know, the whole, like, saying, like, wow, you're actually kind of a selfish prig, Neon. What? Fuck you? Nah, actually, fuck you.
And then their second meeting that we had in the latest episode, and again, she still has no idea it's him, even though it's like, come on, it's right. She has a little inkling, because she's like, how the hell did he know about my wish?
Right. That was like...
I almost forgot about that. But no, they're having this, like, lovers quarrel sort of spat going back and forth, which is fine. But, like...
But I do want a bit more out of what Leon can do than just like, oh, my sponsor is my husband from the future.
And he did lose his cool for a quick second there, where she was, like, going, like, Beck, and, you know, basically, like, you know, turning your eye down, sticking out your tongue, like, bleh, and you know, that set him on edge. Like, whatever, I forget what specifically she said to him, but he was, again, mask slipped a little bit there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. But I'm going to be fully honest here. I would much rather have Nago be with Sai.
Well, okay, just basically again, like the whole thing is that this would be a bit too easy. It's okay. That's what ends up happening. It's fine. Just saying that like this is a bit easy. I appreciate that he's there to tell Nago, you are, because she is like at some point she's like, no, no, Neon, you are being too soft. You really need to fight harder than that to get your wish.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're being too naive. You're not playing hard enough.
No, he is,
because she isn't. That's the thing.
He is giving her the advice that she needs. It's just, it's what we've talked about before. Where it's just like
things is really.
We hope it's not as simple as like, oh, here's her Prince Charming. All's good now.
Yeah,
because she is so much more.
But no, again, like just like telling Nago, like telling Neon that like she's too naive. You're not playing hard enough, and that's the thing that proof that she's not playing hard enough was again, she only tried to manipulate Keiwa that Ace was the disaster and not saying that Keiwa could be the disaster. Yeah, and that played against her completely. She was too naive. Like again, she played like she was like, I'm totally doing the thing, and it's like, no, you're not playing it hard enough. You're dealing with Ace being the primary, you're like, Ace has been doing this for so long. He's manipulated Keiwa and probably other people before for the sake of winning. And that's fine. He's not necessarily happy about it, but he knows that that's what needs to be done. Ace is always that point of Ace will do everything to get it. Like, he will win because he knows how to play the game. And
revisiting that episode too with the mansion, the line he says is really good, that inspires Keiwa even in his desire-robbed state. Like, you have to believe that you can win.
Yeah, exactly. It's never about that's the thing. Like you said, Ace is not like, no, there is no such thing as giving up. Not for a single, Ace does everything with a thought no matter what, I will win. Losing is not a concept.
Not an option, not even entering his thoughts.
Exactly. And meanwhile, that was Neon's downfall about this historic things that she was like, no, I have to do this or I will lose.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's super interesting stuff, and it's, as you said, don't know what will end up happening. Technically, as far as we're concerned, she's lost, she's been found out, but we're no longer at a point where the DGP in its normal state is going.
And let's be honest, as upset as I am that, not raging upset, but as sad as I am that they haven't had a chance to have a heart the trio about this disaster stuff, but I do recognize too that is not what's important right now.
And they're acting like that too.
Yeah.
Right now, Michinaga is the main concern.
I know.
I think,
I think what we said about him already, that we mentioned our speculations on where we think he's headed, and I can only hope that we're right, because I don't want him to just be killed off or without unceremoniously or something like that, or for him to be corrupted further, because I want him to have a path through redemption, basically. Yeah.
But no, my next point, and that's pretty much I think we're getting close to going to everything we wanted to talk about. Well, just right now I'm speaking about the Yamato Grand Prix itself. I think it's again good progression to shift the status quo of the series right now. The things that we have oh yeah, the Yamato have been part of it the whole time, but they're more just pawns and items part of the DGP for the sake of the show. I'm we don't like Barova, but the things are she's completely correct, and fuck that shit. I want to do the thing I want, which is destroying everything.
And then randomly blowing up the garden. We were so sure that the gardener was dead after that, and we're like, oh my god. He's fine. He's fine. He's depressed. He's living his best life right now.
He's like, oh, I'm so glad you guys are okay. We only have these two babies left.
No, but remember too, he's cheering on his he's cheering on his kids during the Yamato Grand Prix. He's having a great time.
But no, exactly. All I was trying to say was really just I like that the Yamato Grand Prix is taking over the DGP because it's clearly more intense. Like that's the thing. Like we're actually raising proper actual stakes outside of just like, hey, if you don't defeat the Jamato, it's the end of the world. But like, no, now literally, you riders are like the antagonists, and the Jamatos are playing by their own proper rules. Things are scarier. Literally, they will kill and destroy, not just for the sake of the game, but for the sake of their own game to get their own corrupted ass desires.
They were built. They were made from the remains of riders, and now they're developing their own
literal own personalities.
Yeah.
Corrupted versions.
And you
of
know,
them,
like it's the director of 01 and X8, so I'm like, oh, here we go. Another version of the Bugsters.
A new version of Kamen Rider Chronicles.
Oh gosh.
But like, jokes aside too, like I'm really excited to see how that will unfold. I'm really excited to see what literally the next episode preview, like Ace's secrets get finally revealed.
I'm so hyped for that. Like we've speculated a little bit during this recording, but yeah, I don't know for sure what we're gonna find out about him, but I can't wait to know it, and like to see him pushed to that, like from what we can see in the preview, pushed to that state of desperation. It very much mirrors how Michinaga was when Geats had lost his memories because he wasn't in the DGP, and Michinaga just dies in his arms basically.
Oh yeah, because he was just like, because Michinaga was still like, I will win no matter what, and it was like, oh, this is not quite what I wanted. And like, make me believe.
Yeah.
Dead.
Oh, my ship. One of my very many ace ships.
Because Ace like still does encourage Michinaga, because again he goes with his whole shit like, you have to believe you will win.
Yeah.
If you continue participating, there will be a day that you will win. And like Michinaga literally again like says like, make me believe that such a thing is possible. Make that a reality.
As much as Michinaga hates Ace, Ace absolutely does not hate him back. It is kind of like a Tendo sort of thing where it's like, oh, this guy is kind of interesting thing. I wanted to bring up too because I forgot. There's that one episode too where Michinaga's like, he's been sent to the garden, partially resurrected just by his own will.
And the zombie buckle.
Yeah, and then he's just kind of wandering the streets, and Ace stumbles upon him and gives him like,
food.
Convenience store food. And like, it's still like being cordial with him, even though Michinaga's just like, fuck you and stuff. And then afterwards, like, I'm talking like just a couple hours later, probably, he makes a steak dinner for Kale, and I was just like, bitch, you went on 2 dates in the same night? I laughed so hard. It was so good.
That's Ace's end goal, is making a harem with everyone.
Okay, though, if there was ever a rider to make a harem, I think it's him. Without having seen every Rider series, yeah, that's it. Yeah, most likely.
But no, I'm just like, we're basically a little over halfway through Kamen Rider Geats, and I'm really excited to see what else is going to come up from it. It's been nonstop gripping my attention from day one, and like, it has not stopped for a second, and I can't wait to see more of it.
Me too. It's been a really fun time. And like, again we're going through it with another friend of ours, and like her reactions are just amazing. Like, just revisiting it and seeing other stuff that sometimes we would have missed, and then just looking at Ace and going like, oh my god, stop! It's so good.
It's been very fun. It's also just been really fun for us to revisit it, as it's the usual comparison of like, hey, getting to watch something in one, like binge watch something versus watching it weekly.
Yeah, and like, going, well, I mean, the cliffhanger we had this week too, where it's like, literally like, I knew they were gonna pull that where like, it was gonna be mid-fight, and like, I was like, there it is. I need to mention as well, so we had our recap episode recently, and I'm really glad it wasn't just we were both relieved that it wasn't just all recap, of course, because you and I, we didn't need it especially. Though it did help a little for this, I will say.
No, like, we understand sometimes the need for recap episodes.
Of course, and, like, there was other stuff that, you know, well, I mean, the sponsors get to all, like, transform, which is great. But it was really bad on our end. Because we just watched and it's just like, hey, you know, now that that's over, what, you want to watch a Zenkaiger episode? It was the recap episode of Zenkaiger!
And that was just a very silly coincidence.
I was like, no, 2 recap episodes in one day!
Yep.
At first, doing Zenkaiger, still an okay episode. At first, you think they're going to do something really different with it and not recap as much, but then they kind of abandoned that right away, and it was like,
There's its own new little plot through it.
Yeah.
It's a time travel
I was just
episode.
really hoping that, that Kaito, that he would have to reconvince everyone to join back right away, and I think that would have been interesting, but instead it's like, oh no, Kaito's been sent back into the past, and he has his memories for the moment, but then he loses them, like, almost immediately.
But, you know, and then, that doesn't stop things to progress as they would.
Yeah, overall, still not a bad episode. It's just you and I were just like 2 recaps at the same time.
It was just a very sad coincidence.
It was. Oh.
But no, I like that how we started recording and we went like...
Yeah!
Cass and Antho will talk for half an hour about Kamen Rider. We're almost 2 hours in.
Yep.
But, like, I think we went over most of our thoughts. I'm sure we're still missing small thoughts here and there.
If you haven't been convinced that we really like Buffa and Keiwa, then we haven't done a good job.
Like, I'd like to think that we've talked plenty about every small thing that we've been
just about how we've been
talk.
feeling. And I want to say, too, like, these...
We like Kamen Rider Geats.
We like Kamen Rider, period. And, like, Geats has been really enjoyable. I do want to say, though, our opinions and, like, you know, anything we've said here, like, you know, none of it is, like, you know... Feel free to experience the series in your own way. Like, we're not saying, like, this is the only way to feel about things or anything.
Well, no, exactly. I'm just glad we got to share our opinions with everyone and, like, you know, get our first foray into making any kind of, like, Kamen Rider related content.
Yeah, it's exciting! Yay! Yeah. And also, like, if you have any other Geats opinions, like, feel free to put some in the comments.
Absolutely.
We're really interested in seeing how other people feel about watching the series, and yeah, no, it's been good.
Just thanking you all. If you're still here, like,
if you're still here and you still like Geats.
If you're still here...
I swear, if those 2 dumbasses mention Buffa one more time, I'm gonna...
If you're still here, then I need to tell you that Michinoku is best boy. Purple looks good on him.
I can't even say that because then I always go like Buffa K1, Michinaga K1, Michinaga K1.
Buffa Tycoon, Buffa
Tycoon, Buffa. My tongue.
But no, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this little quote-unquote podcasting discussion
we
video.
We really appreciate it, and I hope that you found our ramblings interesting or useful in some way. We're recording this currently on the Monday.
We're on March 6th to when this is being recorded.
Yeah, so...
And, like, we just watched episode 25, like...
Yesterday.
2 days, yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, literally yesterday. But yeah, so I'm gonna hopefully get this out in advance enough of the next episode to still make it relevant and not have all our theories disproven. I'm totally fine if they are, right? Because, like, you know, it's just fun speculation. Like,
absolutely.
I'm not hardcore, like, this is how it has to be.
No, that's just what we're trying to say, is that, like, we're excited to see what actually is going to end up happening with Geats. Like, there's still so many mysteries in the series, and I
think that's just one of the charms of Kamen Rider, just putting together what the heck is going on in the situation. I mean, look at O's and how we've been rewatching it, and just how you slowly get introduced to the greed and, like, how things are, and, like, you don't even know, like, what the greed are at first, and then you eventually get filled in, and, like, Ank's situation. I love that boy. I love that boy with every fiber of my being.
Now we're moving to different Kamen Rider series. Anyway, hello.
We love you. Welcome to part 2 of...
Oh, no! But no, we love you all. Thank you so much for watching / listening to us ramble on, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Hopefully we'll do this again for other series in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when Geats is over, but I will absolutely cry because then there'll be no more Geats.
No. Until movies!
Have a great...
Day.
Day. Good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.